Hey everybody, this is B Knight, and welcome to the very first Star Labs confidential livestream. As today, me and my guest Michael Byrnes here are going to talk about DC's latest film, Shazam: Fear of the Gods. First off, I want to say thank you, Mike, for taking your time to be here. Yeah. So, were you always a fan of Shazam, or Captain Marvel, as it originally called all this when he came about in the comics? Yeah, I know what you mean. Like when I first saw that cameo, I was like, okay, he's got to be the guy from I think the show. I never saw it, never even heard about it until after I think the first of it came out when I looked to see about what more has the character been besides animation. But still, yeah, it's great, and he's rather interesting as a hero. I mean, yeah, he's kind of like Superman, but he has like the best secret identity ever. Like no one's gonna think of looking for a kid. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I liked about from I want to say that animation short where you see him and Superman working together against Black Adam because you really see the differences and similarities between the two characters. Yeah, hopefully we get something like that for live action. Yeah, that's true, but you never know. I mean, they might want to recruit someone like Shazam in case if Black Adam ever becomes a threat. I mean, who knows? I mean, yeah, that's true. I liked how he pointed out how the two teams they have almost the same name, just the last word, and trying to think of other names, and that's a good point. Yeah, though that's something I never knew in the comics. Did Shazam ever be part of the Justice Society? Yeah, I had to look because I'm definitely not much of a comic book knowledge fully, just mostly with the media side of things. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I think it was like the Injustice Society or something like that. Yes, no, you're right. Because I mean, some people have pointed that out of the character, how he was part of the Just Society. I think around late '90s, early 2000s. So hmm. Oh wait, hold on. It says here that I think you're muted for some reason. Hold on. Let's see. Because I mean, I can hear you, but according to like whoever to the viewers watching, it seems like you're muted. Hold on, let me see. How about now? Let's see. Yeah, for anyone watching, if you can hear him, that'd be great. Yeah. Let's see. So far, yeah. Sorry, this is still my first time, so I'm not sure if it's. Let's see. Hmm, let's see. Maybe if I just go with other systems. Let's see. Let's see. How's this, everyone? Like, can you anyone hear him now?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I feel like I'm on a phone commercial.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. Sounds like okay. Everyone can hear you now. All right.
Perfect. Good. Hello, everyone who couldn't hear me before.
Yeah, for anyone that didn't hear anything, this is Michael Byrnes. He is a famous Superman cosplayer. Like he's done like up to like 10, 12 variations of the character.
Yeah, that sounds about.
Let's
And
see.
hopefully I'll do Captain Marvel one in the summer when I lose this holiday week.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I guess we'll just start from the beginning in terms of
Yes.
I guess like yeah, were you a big fan of like Shazam back when he was Captain Marvel?
Yes. And like I said before, it started when the TV show came out. Um, there was that character Billy Batson who rode around with that elderly gentleman in the RV. That's what kind of started me liking Captain Marvel, where Billy Batson would get out of the RV and holler Shazam, and then he would turn into the big Shazam or big Captain Marvel, if you will, to go fight crime. And in the movie, Michael Gray showed up, who is Billy Batson in the TV show. he's the guy in the red shirt with the yellow collar, and I think his line was, "You're doing a great job," to Zachary Levi, and I was like, "Oh, that's Billy Batson." And then and if you notice when they're in the junkyard, the RV that the monster crushes, that's the RV that they used to ride around in. So all the Easter eggs that were in the Shazam movie, I got a kick out of. I really dig how they put the little things in there. So it's pretty neat. I like Easter eggs. I just like looking in the background for things.
Yeah, it is great because I had a feeling that guy he definitely was involved with Captain Marvel in one way or another. Just I looked up recently to find out that there was actually an old show from the '70s.
In the '70s, and that's what we used to watch. It was Captain Marvel, and then there was also Isis. She was the goddess, and she would like hold her hands up and fly up. She's a gorgeous woman that they had. So yeah, she was kind of like an offshoot of Wonder Woman back then. But yeah, I dug it. I
Yeah,
grew up in this. Yeah.
yeah. I gotta say for this movie, they definitely went big, bigger and badder from the last movie.
Yeah, I think they had a bigger budget. So I mean, I enjoyed it. The costumes were different. They added more characters, more villains, if you will. The three daughters of Atlas, which weren't in the comics at all, but which gave them more liberty to do with them what they could. That I enjoyed it. I thought it was when they pulled out the three hard hitters too. It was like Helen Murray and Lucy Liu and the little girl who played Anne. They all did a great job. So yeah, I thought it was awesome. So yeah, they did a great job in my opinion.
That's true because I felt like it was more fitting for someone like Shazam because their father is part of the I think the word is anagram for Shazam, so it makes sense that you gotta face up against pretty much gods or demigods or however that all works.
Yeah. Atlas.
Right,
Atlas.
that's the first A, right?
Um, yeah. The second one was Achilles. Had to look at it.
Gotcha.
Yes, they did a great job. The CG worked great. I like the jokes. Like I said, Zachary Levi always delivers. He's funny. He's very charismatic.
Yeah,
He's a good actor. I enjoyed the show. It was fun. It was family friendly. If I want to take my grandkids to it or my kids to it, I wouldn't worry about anything having to shield our eyes sort of thing. It's definitely not Deadpool. Uh, which I
no,
do
it's
like
not.
Deadpool. You don't really want to take your 7-year-old to the Deadpool show.
No, yeah, no, that won't work. But yeah, it's just funny how the same guy that directed this also has directed like a few horror films.
Yeah, Annabelle, which I don't know if you noticed or not, in both movies, she was in there. The little girl. When they broke into, when Billy broke into the pawn shop, she was on the shelf to the side. And then this one, when he was on the couch at the psychiatrist's office, you looked over in the corner. Along with the Wonder Woman plushes everywhere, Annabelle was right in the middle. So there was some more Easter eggs. And in Billy's bedroom on his wall there was a poster. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
they job of doing all the Easter eggs. It's always fun.
yeah. It's just honestly, I feel like I would trust superhero movies mostly to like horror film directors because like what the guy
Well,
did.
they with the Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not sure for the first one, but I know for the second one that was Sam Raimi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he
The
directed like the old school Spider-Man films.
yeah, the Multiverse of Madness, because he was the guy who did what was the name of that? Evil Dead.
Yep.
Evil Dead. Ash where he had the chainsaw on his arm, which he also he was the guy who was beating himself to death with the hot dog cart. That was the same guy. So more Easter eggs.
Yeah, yeah. That guy's a great actor. Like he
And
gets put in almost every Sam Raimi movie.
Bill Campbell is quite the comedic actor. He is something else. He is something.
Yeah. Gotta say, I mean, I'm hopefully we get a third movie, something to do with after the, I think I want to say the first or second post credit scene they did with
Yeah.
Mr. Mind. I think he's called.
Yeah, the little guy. He's the little to the Magic Land to take over the Magic Land, which they did mention it in the movie. They had like a sign on the door, seven worlds or something of magic, don't enter, and that's what he's trying to get to. Mr. Mind is, and of course, Doctor. I might say his name wrong, Shivago or Sylvia or whatever his name is. The bad guy from the first movie. He's
Yeah.
trying to get his power. He liked that power, so him and Mr. Mind are trying to work together. So that's what that was all about. So hopefully they will make a third one. I don't know, with all this James Gunn taking over the DC universe, they keep saying they're going to use some of the old characters from the DC. Is they call it DCEU, or I forget what they're naming it, but
Yeah.
hopefully they'll pull those over into the new DC universe. So
Yeah, at first they call it just like the DCEU for like extended universe, but now under James Gunn it's just called the DCU.
yeah, something like that. Which I get. I mean, I was honestly, I've said this before. I was kind of upset that they dropped Henry Cavill, but I know they have to move on. I liked Henry Cavill. I liked him being an older Superman, but they're going to make him young. So I'm like, okay, if that's the direction you want to go. Hopefully they bring back Zachary Levi. But the character who plays Billy Batson, like I said, he was 17 in this one, so he's aging up. Like the girl who played Mary in this one, she aged up, and they didn't use the other actress that they used in the first one because she's older, so she can kind of portray that character as an older hero. So I think that's how they played that off. It's like, oh, she's older now, she doesn't need to look different, which she's still pretty, but still. So hopefully they bring Zachary back. I don't know how they're going to do that. We'll have to wait and see. I like Zachary. Like so, once again, he's a great guy. I've met him numerous times at cons, and he's always very jovial, very personable, and he, like we were at Dallas Comic Con, and there was a line for him to sign autographs, and they were closing the doors and turning the lights out, and he didn't leave. He sat there and signed the autographs, which to me says a lot for some of these actors who'll just get up and walk away, or they don't even acknowledge you. He sat there and talked to people. He was, very emotional with them. He a very personal guy. Very props to Zachary. I like Zach. So
Yeah, he does give off that vibe.
yeah, very very nice. And I honestly didn't even know who he was until the Shazam movies, and he had mentioned a TV show called Chuck. So I was like, "What is this Chuck show?" And I went and saw it. I was like, "I like Chuck. That was a good show." It was basically It was a spinoff of, I want to say, like Best Buy, where he was a geek. It wasn't called Geek Squad. It was called something else. But he was part of that. He was a Geek Squad kid, and he was going around, and he got sort of super ninja powers for being a super detective, kind of not a detective, but a spy. His dad gave him these powers anyway. But it's a great show, and if you ever like Zachary Levi, check out Chuck because it's really funny. So it's really good. I think it was in the early 2000s when it came out. I believe.
Yeah, I remember seeing like some commercials about that through high school.
People kept telling me about it, and I never gave it a chance because people were like, "You'd like it, Mike." I'm like, "Ah." And I was already involved in other shows. But when I watched it, I'm like, "Oh, this is perfect for me." Because basically they nerd out. They have all the different. They talk about Star Wars, Star Trek. They talk about comic books. It's like two nerds who got pretty much strong and famous and able to kick ass. This him and his roommate, but and he has a hot wife, of course. But well, I don't give it away. But watch Chuck. Zachary Levi show. Yeah, Chuck.
Good to know. Yeah, I mean, at first when I saw him cast, I wasn't entirely sure he could do it because for someone like Shazam, like it's got to be like almost like rock size kind of a character. Like he's pretty big. I want to say maybe a little bit built bigger than Superman in some ways, just because it's more like more godlike. But
right, he has that classic sort of a barrel chest look in the comics. When they put the suit on him, I mean, obviously Zachary's not that big. The first suit in the first movie was kind of obvious. It was like we know it's The second suit in this new movie, I think they did better. I liked it better. It looked like it flowed better and it felt better to me. They looked comfortable in it. But sometimes you can tell that the actors aren't comfortable in some of those suits. Where in this one, he just looked more comfortable. Plus, it didn't look. For example, his shoulder was like way the hell out of here. In the first, it was more tailored down. They,
Yeah.
they did a good job.
Yeah, although I did like the texture from the first suit.
Definitely, definitely. And mind you, the first one it looked like a nightlight on his chest with the lightning, and I get what they're doing. It looked fun. And then the second one, it was just sort of subtle. It sort of lit up a little bit. Where the first one, it glowed the whole room. And mind you, when he was in the dome in the second one, it lit up, which was cool. And I think they all lit up anyway. But the first one, it was like really, really bright. This one was sort of toned down. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah, I would say if they can keep him in the Shazam kids for future movies, yeah, definitely keep with I say with the second movie suits.
yeah, they as far as all six of those kids being a Shazam, that was entered during the new 52 era and 62 and 60 in the 52 era. I'm gonna say it was like how many years ago was that? 8 or 9 years ago, maybe 10. So before that, there weren't six kids. There was only Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. and then Mary Marvel. Well, there was Uncle Dudley. Was it Dudley, the uncle who came out?
Yeah,
He was there. So there was those people, but there was never just six. And I liked it in one of the shows. I think it was one of the cartoons, uh, Flashpoint. When they said Shazam, they all became one because just one person standing there. There wasn't six.
yeah,
So
I think
kind of like,
yeah, I think they called him like Captain Thunder or something.
yeah. So I was like, oh, they should have called him that in this movie, since they can't call him Captain Marvel. But
Still, like, it's just funny how like they went with that for Flashpoint, and then after that they decided just to go with everyone gets a superpower.
yeah. Which was fun. I like the Darla character. She's cute. Of course, mind you, she's a little girl. Freddie, he's fun. Of course, Billy, and then when Darla, I don't know if you noticed this or not, when she found that little kitten in the movie, she called him Tawny. I went, oh, there's the cat. So that was a throwback to Tawny the Tiger in the comics, which I thought they were going to make the foster parent. I think his name's Anderson Cooper. I think his name is the actor. I asked him when he was here in Shreveport. I asked him, "Are you going to be Tawny the Tiger?" He goes, "I don't know. I'd like to be." I was like, "Okay." So they didn't go that way. I
Oh,
thought they were going to. They didn't do that. So it is what it is.
oh well, I guess they want to add like a magical tiger
Yeah.
guardian or
Well,
something.
throughout the whole show, if you look in the back, there's like tigers, like there's stuffed animal tigers. They got little tiger emblems right here. So there was a tiger presence, but they didn't make the actual tiger come out. Like remember in the cartoon with Superman and Shazam and Black Adam, the bum, he was the tiger. Remember, he was Tawny the Tiger. He was his
Yep.
protector. So I was like, all right, well, where's this guy at? So he was kind of important in the Shazam lore, in my opinion, and they didn't show him out. So I was waiting to see that. I thought that'd be a new addition to it, but they didn't do that. Only just a little kitten. So maybe he'll be, if they do a third one, maybe the kitten will grow into a tiger. I don't know. It's magic.
True. I mean, we got like a magic pen called Steve.
Magic pen named Steve. Yeah, that's new. Should have called him Google.
Yeah,
Google.
because that whole line read with I think with Hespera, I think that's Helen Mirren's character. Like that was just hilarious. How Steve was writing every word they said in the letter. Like that just got me bawling.
Especially for her to be reading it, was because she's such a classic actress. And, that was funny to see that. That's hilarious. She's a matter of fact, she's on. is it 1923 show with Harrison Ford now. That's like a Yellowstone spinoff. So she's on there. She plays the matriarch on there. So she's a great actress also. But they don't, like I said, they didn't skimp on great actors and actresses in this show. They did a great job. And I'm a big fan of Lucy Liu, and then when she showed up, I'm like, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, that
great.
definitely surprised me how she became like the final bad guy. I figured it'd be more Helen Mirren's character.
Yeah, because she's older. But I want to say it's the middle child syndrome.
Pretty
She's the
much.
middle child. My wife's the middle child. I could tease her.
Yeah, plus that dragon design, like that was just. I think that's one of the best dragon designs I've ever seen. Even with its power, like how it petrifies people in their fears.
Right. And it was wood, which I really didn't catch until he mentioned it. I kept looking at it, going, "What is that?" Because the lights from his I guess power breath, if you want to call it that, was so blinding. You really couldn't see what texture it was until Zachary said, "Oh, and you're made of wood, strong flex." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess it is wood." But it took me a second because I was looking at other things because there's so much going on with all the ghouls and the minotaurs and things showing up and trying to keep up. There's a lot going on in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, there it is. It's like not so much as not so much as I guess the family things as more as with trying to stop this threat.
Yeah, and then of course the unicorns are the toughest creatures that they're scared of. I was like, well, okay. I just knew someone was going to bust out with a My Little Pony joke or something, but then they brought the rainbows with the Skittles, and I was like, taste the rainbow, and sure enough, she said it. Taste the rainbow. I was like, oh, well, there you go, you got it. So
I know that's probably one of the funniest and silliest advertisements I think any company has ever done.
yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it. They, from what I understand, they played off the scenes first, and then they had to call Skittles to get permission. Hey, you mind if we use you in this movie? Which would be silly. That's kind of like back in the day when ET was around. They didn't give M&M's permission, so they had to use Reese's Pieces. I don't know if you knew that or not. So yeah, it's like M&M's threw that out the window. That opportunity.
Huh?
It's like, yeah,
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 that
little
that,
thing.
that I did not know.
Yeah. The things you learn over the years, all this useless knowledge that I have of comics and movies and whatnot.
Yeah, and
It's have movies behind me that I've watched over and over and over.
yeah, I was gonna say you got like a really big collection back there.
Yeah, movies over here and my wife's romance novels over here.
Nice.
All right, sounds like we split the library. The library. So yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot more in another room, but anyway.
So, what'd you think of bringing Wonder Woman into this movie?
I enjoyed that. I always like seeing Gal Gadot too. Uh, that was the thing. That scene kind of threw me a little bit, not because of her showing up, but Billy died. I'm like, okay, and then when he came back to life, he was Shazam, Captain Marvel. I was like, oh, he transformed in the grave. Was that what happened? But I liked her presence being there. Obviously, she's a demigod. She's not a full god. She's from Zeus's heritage, if you will. Um, but no, I liked it. I thought it was cool. Anytime they bring in because I thought they were going to bring uh, the Justice League in. From what I understand, they were supposed to come in to try to help him beat that dome down, and that didn't happen. So they cut that scene, but they still brought Gal Gadot in to resurrect him, and that was a good addition to the movie, bringing the sort of cameo, if you will, to bring Gal Gadot in. And who doesn't like to see Gal Gadot? She's a beautiful woman. And then she brings him back to life with her spark of godliness, and then he comes out of the grave. So I'm like, okay, he went in as Billy, he's coming out as Captain Marvel. Okay, sure. And then of course the play with each other because he has a fascination with her, and she's like, just stick to saving the world, kid. I said, yeah, well, she is 5,000 years old, so.
Yeah,
But
and
no, she was a great addition.
Yeah, and Freddy also having a crush on Anne, who's like also significantly older than him.
Yes, and she's also like a couple thousand years old. So yeah, yeah, you got to work with that age difference.
Yeah, it did felt weird, like, because I felt like there's no way they're gonna kill him off like that. Like, there's got to be some kind of cheesy way of him going back to life or something.
Yeah, it was magic. They had access to magic, and the wizard was right there. So I'm thinking, why don't you just use your staff to bring him back to life? But they waited till Wonder Woman showed up because she had the spark of the gods, if they will, and that brought him back. So okay.
Yeah, they had to.
Plus, it's always cool to hear her theme music when she shows up.
Yeah, it's always funny how the name of her soundtrack of that theme from Dawn of Justice is called like "Is She With You?"
Yeah. Like I said, it's always good to hear her, see her. So yeah, I like the fact that she showed up in the movie. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good thing that they decided to make Wonder Woman the daughter of Zeus.
Yeah, I believe they did that in the comics. They said her mom made her out of clay, and then Zeus granted her life. If you will. I thought it was another person who did it, but they were trying to say that Zeus was actually the biological father. So the story shift.
Yeah, it's just a new 52 thing.
All right, it is what it is. It's kind of like Hercules would be her brother, and well, he's not in this one. He's in Marvel, but
That's
well,
true.
I don't know. That happens. I don't know. We'll see if they bring Hercules to this universe too.
Yeah, yeah, you never know. I mean, we get to see all the different kinds of. I say with the Greek mythology, it's not limited to just like Marvel and DC, even though they have their own distinct versions of them.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. I think they did have Hercules in DC at one time, but he? Of course, he looked different. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he in the Superman movie? Didn't they show up? Hercules and someone else showed up to fight him. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I think it was All Star Superman. No, I think it was just someone else named Atlas and Samson.
Samson. Okay, it was Samson. Okay, those two guys. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Samson and Atlas, the strong fellas.
Yeah, always trying to hit on Lois Lane.
Well, she's supposed to be one of the hot ones in the DC universe, I guess. So she's a strong-minded woman, and she's pretty, so they're always going after her. And yeah,
That.
let's mess with Superman's woman. Let's do that. Let's poke the bear. Poke the bear.
Yep.
That's what they're doing.
Yep. And now after, yeah, never mind the potential, like, being pummeled, or in the case of the movie, having arm injuries.
Right. I liked it though. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So, though it makes me wonder, like, with the wizard, because I thought he died or something. So, like,
He died. That's what I thought too. He died, and he went off into his little what looked like an ash form also. So I thought he died, and then they're like, "Oh no, he's an astral projection, but now he's real." And so that kind of threw me because I thought he was gone, but he came back and he was in the prison with the three sisters. So that kind of threw me. And then they mentioned the reason the staff was in the museum was because Billy, or Shazam, can't remember, broke it and then threw it away because he didn't realize what he was doing. And when they threw it away, it broke 3 trash compactors in the Philadelphia dump. And that's like, oh no, that's something special. So, and then of course they go, the girls, the sisters come and get it. And then you look and there's the wizard in jail. Like, I thought he was dead. So, I don't know.
though it was hilarious seeing his face on Wonder Woman's body.
Right. And he's seeing the wizard's face through her body. So it's all magic. Magic. Just comes back to life.
Yeah,
I don't know.
DC does the craziest things with magic.
Yeah, yeah, they take liberties with magic. They do a lot of that, and of course we know Superman's vulnerable to magic, so that'll hurt him. So I was kind of looking forward to Shazam and Black Adam fighting with the Justice League and putting the magic here and there. But what do you do?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not.
I mean, like, cause like Shazam, Captain Marvel, like, he's part of the whole, like, he's kind of has to go hand in hand with Black Adam. I mean, Black Adam is basically like Shazam's Venom.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, mind you, Black Adam was older. He's been around for a minute, and then he was sent away, and then the Wizard needed a new champion, and then he chose Billy Batson, and then you would think once those two came back together, Black Adam and Captain and Marvel he would have Black Adam would have such animosity towards the new guy that they would, just go at it, which they do in the comics. But I'm saying they should have brought that story to the movies, but they didn't get around to it yet. So that was kind of disappointing. You didn't get because they built it up for so long. Black Adam's coming. Well, Captain Marvel or Shazam's going to be first, and even Zachary Levi had made mention of it when he was in New Orleans Comic Con. He made a joke. He says, "I can't wait to punch Rock in the face," and I was like, "Okay." So, so that never happened. So I don't know. I was kind of disappointed they didn't bring those two together because that seemed like that's what that was all gearing towards. Here's Black Adam. Here's Shazam. Let's bring them together. Big blowout, and of course, Black Adam is the darker of the two, so of course, he'd be the bad guy in the conflict. But they didn't do it, so I was a little disappointed with that.
No, just because they wanted to make it more like an anti-hero kind of vibe, which
They're getting at. They wanted to make him likable, so you'd root for him. And then when the show finally came, he'd probably go a little more darker to where you'd be rooting for Shazam, Captain Marvel, instead of Black Adam. Even though I like both characters, Black Adam's definitely he does things his own way, and he even said it in the movie with when Hawkman was talking to him. He's just heroes don't kill. He goes, I do. I was like, oh, that's pretty dark. So yeah, it's pretty dark.
yeah, very. It's just I don't know. I feel like maybe they could have done something like where maybe for a third movie or even for the
Yeah,
second, like Black Adam appears, and for his own movie, it would be just set in the past or something like what builds him up to becoming who he is.
like from what I understand, they were leading to do a combination where Black Adam was going to tussle with Superman, and then Captain Marvel was going to show up and assist, but that didn't happen. So we got to just imagine in our minds. So, or
Yeah.
maybe write it and have someone animate it for us. I don't know. So yeah,
Oh well. So
right.
so for your Captain Marvel costume, like you're going with the classic like from like before New 52, right?
Yes, I'm doing the Alex Ross version. If you ever read Kingdom Come, that's the version I'm going for. I bought the suit itself from a guy named Scott Bales who does wonderful work. He's a little thinner than me, so I'm having to lose some weight. But it's spandex. I had to alter some things, like I'll probably have to put some gussets in the side and get a new rope, and then the boots. I have to wear my own boots and the sash. I have my own sash and the gauntlets, the bracers. I have my own. Basically, they're interchangeable with my Black Adam costume. So that's the look I'm going for. Is the Alex Ross look because he makes all of the characters look iconic. Anytime he paints or draws a character, that's in my opinion that's what they should look like. Which is ironic because he makes Superman look like me when I'm made up. So which is ironic. Because I remember when I first saw the Kingdom Come or anything Alex Ross did with Superman, I was like, wow, that looks like me. That's okay. I have pictures of Superman in my house that Alex Ross painted, and my buddy came in. You have a picture of yourself as Superman? And I'm like, that's not me, dude. That's a painting. Oh, so it was mistaking. And so mistaken for that. But yeah, when it goes back to the classic character look, I'm gonna do what it looked like in the past with the sash on the side, the robe hanging the cape. Basically, it's a shorter cape too. I like long capes. I just like them, but this one's shorter. Scott made it shorter. I'm gonna respect what he did and wear it like that. So yeah, Scott does a great job. Fabulous, fabulous seamstress or seamster. How do we call it? Tailor, seamster.
Right. Yeah. Plus, it wasn't until the New 52 when they had a Shazam wear the hood part of it,
Yeah,
right?
well, but I'm not gonna lie. When they put the hood on him, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way it looked. To me, I liked it on Black Adam because he's a more menacing character. To me, it looked like he was cold when he cut his hood. I was like, "Are you cold? Are you freezing? Why do you have a hood?" And I don't know if they were just adding that for aesthetics, but it was a different look. And plus, in the movie, if you look, I don't believe there's a hood, but there's a second layer to his cape that sort of falls down. And in the second movie, his cape is longer; it's almost to his ankles. So they did a change on his costume in the movie. Like I said, they made it a longer cape. So yeah, like I said, as far as me, I'm going back to the old Alex Ross standard. To me, he's from my era, if you will. He's my age, so we kind of grew up in the same time frame. So um, we probably read the same comics growing up, and we probably watched the same TV shows. So when he goes to create his artwork, that's what he reflects on are those images, and he puts it out there, and that's exactly what I like. And that's he produces. He does. He does a great job. So hopefully, when I'm all said and done with it, and I lose about 30 more pounds and shave my face, I'll fit into the costume. I'll show it off, and we'll probably do some more pictures with doing some Kingdom Come props where I'll probably stand there like this with a picture of Captain Marvel doing this with Kingdom Come Superman doing that like that. I'll have to do like costume changes. So
Nice.
we'll see.
Yeah. Do you have like a regular Superman Alex Ross costume?
My one costume resembles Alex Ross's. It's a big S. It's a bigger S. Anytime Alex does his Superman stuff, his S is bigger. So mine resembles that. And then, of course, when I put my makeup on, and mind you, see, I'm not black-headed. I'm sort of sandy blonde. So when I put the spray in it, it transforms me into what that looks like in the comic is the Kingdom Come. So of course it's black and white. I'll put the whites on the edges too, and I'll put some certain makeup on, and it looks good when it's all said and done. Of course, I'm getting older too, so it probably works towards the benefit of the older Superman. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that's just true. Like Superman always has a unique look and iconic look as he's like kind of like older, like as like a kind of like the father figure for DC heroes.
Exactly. That's why I liked when they had John as a child in the story. I liked the fact that Superman was a dad. I enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed the fact that he was actually getting what he always wanted, which was a family. And he's actually raising John to be a superhero. And then they decided to age John up for some reason. I'm like, I didn't want you to do that. I kind of wanted to see him go through the years of John getting older. That was just me, you know.
Yeah,
But
that was a weird time for the comics, and plus after that, I think they canceled. I think it was called Super Sons.
yeah, and I like the Super Sons because it had Damien, which I like Damien, and Jonathan. Those two were buddies. Matter of fact, they came out with a little movie recently, the little cartoon. I enjoyed that. So I enjoyed those two when they were together, the Super Sons. Those are fun. Those are fun stories. I enjoyed that. So those were really good, very well done. The story was on point. It showed John was definitely a farm kid. It showed that Damien was not, and he was more of a city kid, also raised by Ra's al Ghul. as to be an assassin, and you could tell, he's a pretty badass kid. And then here comes Jonathan, or John, if you will, to just come on. Hey, how you doing? I'm just trying to be buddies. And of course, they butt heads, but yeah,
That's for sure.
they
Yeah,
bunch books, and they're going to change the story. So I understand you got to sell the books, and they'll change the story around to make it more interesting. Because if you write the same thing over and over and over and over, people won't buy your books. So
yeah, because I guess they're trying to figure out like maybe we should have the kid be the next Superman.
right, and that's what they were going for, and I get that. But I'll always Clark's going to be my Superman. I get what they're doing, but Clark and Kal-El, that's Superman till the day I die. But yeah, I like the fact that he was a family man. They made Clark a family man, and he was sort of back at Smallville raising his kid. I enjoyed that story. I like it when they do that.
Yeah, it was
It's always,
nice.
mm-hmm.
Plus, Freddy from Shazam, he did the voice work for Jonathan Kent in that anime movie.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. And they mentioned it in some. I think it was in the actual movie Elvis. Elvis was a big fan of Captain Marvel Jr. If you looked at his TCB Take Care of Business with emblem, it has a lightning bolt. So
Huh.
Elvis was a huge nerd too.
Nice.
If you noticed at the end of the movie, they played that Elvis song.
Huh. Yeah. You mean during the credits or like the ending scene of the movie?
The credits, yeah, they played Elvis because Elvis was a big Captain Marvel fan back in the day, Captain Marvel Jr. And in
Huh.
the movie, they actually had him running around with this big lightning bolt on his chest, and he was looking through the tent and learning how to sing. But yeah, Elvis was a geek.
That's hilarious.
All American boy, Elvis. All American.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we got these movies like with Shazam because like Zachary Levi definitely knows how to play a definitely comedic hero with some serious moments, and it was interesting with the types of enemies that he was pit up against. He got like pretty much like the seven deadly sins, and
Mm-hmm.
then face up against actual gods and dragons. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, like,
it was fun. Yeah, and of course the sisters came into play. Uh, but no, as far as the movies go that they've been putting out recently, I mean, I'm just a fan of it all because back in the '70s and the '80s, I say the '80s, the '70s, we didn't have the kind of movies that we have now. Back then, we had the Incredible Hulk, but it was on TV, and it was Lou Ferrigno painted up. Which, mind you, I love that show, but you didn't have CG back then, so it was just a dude, big bodybuilder. And then as far as Captain America, he was on his little motorcycle with his helmet, and I think he had like a clear shield, if I'm not mistaken. And then we had George Reeves back in the day, uh, the Superman, which I loved, and I would sit and watch in my brother's room. We had like one little TV in my brother's room that we could watch TV to keep us quiet, and we had that. And of course, in the '66 era, we had Batman. Fast forward to '78, where the Superman movie came out, which was like, holy crap, this is astonishing. And then fast forward to now, where there's so much going on, they'll do CG mixed with real life, and it all comes together, and you can make the plot line and storyline expand, and it's just amazing what they can do these days with these movies. You'll watch it, and it's very entertaining. As long as the storyline's on plot, it's entertaining. Mind you, got to have a good story. You can't just have fabulous pictures and then not have a good story. You have to have great pictures and great images to put out there. So if you don't have a good storyline, it's not going to work. But nowadays, I think they do a great job with these stories. Good stuff.
yeah, yeah, because I definitely enjoy them too, and yes, sometimes I feel like the CGI it definitely helps, and but I don't mind the practical effects because I think for the first Aquaman film, almost every sea creature that was human like that wasn't CG. That was all prosthetic makeup and stuff.
Yeah, I like it when they do practical uh, filming. I do like that. It just makes it more real, if you will. I like that. When they add the CG, it adds to it. Sometimes if they do too much CG, it takes away from it. Because you'll watch, you go, oh, that's fake. Which, come on, you're watching a superhero movie. We all know there's no God of Thunder holding a hammer. And can you believe a dude can fly? And there he is. But the movies make you believe they can fly, and you'll believe that man's a superhero for real. So that's what it is when these movies take you out of your present situation from whatever's going on in your world and your life. You can escape to watch these shows, and you're in it, and you're there, and you fall in love with these people and these characters, and that's what these shows are about, is making you sort of escape a little and enjoy it. Hopefully, you get some morals out of it too. That's why I like Superman so much, because he's got great morals. So I was like, hey, I can learn something from this dude. So some of these movies, they help. I liked it. I was like watching the movies and sort of getting a sort of a life lesson. It's kind of like the G.I. Joe, the more you know kind of thing.
That's for sure, yeah.
There was a lesson at the end of He-Man. Today, kids, we learned about fire safety. You just burned a castle, He-Man. So it's one of those deals. So anyway, I enjoy it when they come together and just make it all work. It's great. It's a great feeling to come and see these heroes and these characters come together and sort of touch your heartstrings too. I always like that. So
yeah, because I felt more of that with the first Shazam movie, because they did something unique with Billy's story. How he just wants to find his family, just wants to get a clear understanding.
See, that kind of bothered me when they were the whole mom just blew him off. Like I was like, you found your mom, and she's like, oh, I gotta go. I'm like, what? So that kind of threw me. But because in the comics, his parents were scientists and they died, and then of course he got the powers of Shazam. But when they did the whole storyline with the mom lost him at a fair, and then when he finally found her, she didn't want nothing to do with him. What? What? And of course they said his dad was in prison. Yeah. So we haven't met that character yet. So if they do a 3, maybe he'll show up.
Yeah. That could work, but that's what I want to touch base with you, because I hear from several fans, people aren't happy with the fact that Billy's like, about 18-ish, and even when it comes to like whenever he's Billy or Shazam, it's like totally different like personalities, like almost like two separate people, even though it's technically are.
That was, yeah, I was with this movie, the guy who played Shazam, what's his name? Adam Asher? Is that his name? Adam?
I want to say Ashton or Aster.
Yeah, he's a great actor, but when he played Billy, he seemed more distraught than what Billy in the comics or the cartoons was usually like. Because even though he had a bad luck, if you will, in life, like his parents died, he's homeless, this kind of thing, he was always upbeat. He was always an upbeat character. And then when he changed into Shazam, oh, I'm happy now. I'm a happy guy. I'm Zachary Levi. Here come the jokes. Whereas this actor and who played Billy Batson, he always seemed a little distraught, little depressed, if you will. But maybe that was the power of Shazam making him happy. I don't know. It was like a magical Zoloft pill. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But he seemed like two different people. However, with Freddy's character, the guy who played, which they did great casting for, by the way, Freddy young and Freddy old, they had similar personalities. Their personalities were similar. And then Zachary Levi even said he didn't even apply for Captain Marvel, for Shazam. He applied for the spot for Freddy because he wanted to be the more jovial guy. He wanted to be the funny guy. But they liked him for Shazam instead. So he got a call back, and it was like, we like you for Shazam instead of Freddy's character. So that's what he said at Comic-Con, at least.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I think around the time of the first movie, but yeah, I feel like even the movie kind of explained that how I think Freddy said was like in the first movie was like superhero syndrome, and I guess so it's like for someone like Billy to get these powers, it could be kind of like a drug, and I think it kind of makes sense because in the context of the story, Billy was abandoned by his family and feels like he's not special. But when he gets these powers, now
He's
he feel
special.
yeah, now he feels special. So it's like, yeah, he wants to
Right.
do like whatever he wants and he feels like who can stop me?
Right. And then of course he's on the psychiatrist couch and he's laying there and the psychiatrist, well, actually he's a pediatrician. He's telling him he's got imposter syndrome. So yeah. So which Zachary Levi's a big proponent of therapy, by the way. Um, so that kind of he probably told him, hey, let me lay on this couch here. But yeah, Zachary, he talked about, he said therapy helped him through, and that's probably what he wanted to interject into this character, that it's okay to go ahead and get some therapy. Uh,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah, because man, it's a lot for a kid. Because I remember seeing a comic book image of I guess where Superman stormed the Wizard's Rock of Eternity, and was like, how could you let a kid, you know, handle that kind of power, all their responsibility and such? And then
right.
they exchanged some words. I forget exactly what they said, but then next page, we see like Billy in his own little apartment. And I think at that point he was still just living on his own, and Clark
Yeah.
comes in and just then shows reveals his identity, and they just talk. And I don't know that I feel like that's powerful. That's something that I would like to see in live action because Superman would be like the best mentor for someone like Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Which they tried to, I want to say they tried that story similar on the Justice League story where they talked about Captain Marvel, and said Superman was doing things a little bit more aggressive than he normally was on this story. It was on the Justice League Unlimited, if I'm not mistaken. And Captain Marvel came and was doing stuff, and Lex Luthor was plotting against Superman as always. And then he built some city, and then Captain Marvel was trying to say, "Hold on, Superman, let's see what he's got to do." And then Superman tears up this whole new community that Lex built, and Captain Marvel was like, I used to look up to you, and now I don't because I'm done. And he walks out, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, getting a little dark there. That's what DC's doing to your characters. Is getting a little dark, and that's what kind of changes you into the Injustice characters, where they start doing even more bad things to other characters. I enjoyed that stuff. I enjoyed the Justice League cartoons. Those were always my favorite.
Yeah,
They did a good job with those.
yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. And what's funny was in that episode, like, I spoke with one of the directors for that series. They were only allowed
yeah.
to use Captain Marvel only once. They for
Wow.
some, yeah, for some reason they couldn't use him for anything more than just one episode.
That one shot. Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. And yeah, and that basically they showed him joining and leaving.
Pretty,
Of
yeah,
course, they brought him back in Young Justice, which I love Young Justice. And mind you, he's 10 years old, and there he is with the Teen Titans, if you will, Young Justice. So he kind of fit the mold. They're like, why is he here? I'm like, well, he's 10 years old, or 12, or however old. So
yeah. Plus,
they I didn't know that he could only do a one shot for Justice League. Though. That's saying something right there.
yeah, I think around that time, like there was a lot of complications, I guess, with utilizing certain characters. But I think by the time of Young Justice, there wasn't that much issue anymore.
See, and I understand the legalities of it, but it still pisses me off as a fan that you let that interrupt with the storyline. For example, we're still calling Shazam when really the Wizard Shazam, his real name's Captain Marvel, who we you have to call him Shazam because the Marvel somehow got to the lawyers first to copyright his name, even though Shazam, Captain Marvel's been around since way before the Marvel's Captain Marvel. So that's just kind of gets on my nerves. I get it, money's involved. I get it, but you know, be true to the story. Would you rewrite 20,000 Leagues of Sea just because somebody bought it different? No, I don't know. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I
This is me.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like like he came first, and it's just I don't know, but
Because even Sony, when Marvel sold Spider-Man, when they sold all the characters and Sony snatched up Spider-Man, they finally played ball, and they brought Spider-Man over to the Marvel universe, which, I mean, finally they did something right. But now it's like you can't even use someone's name because another company bought it out from under you. It kind of grinds my gears, if you will. Little Peter Griffin jab there. But yeah, it gets on my nerves when they basically take away from the storyline because legalities. And I get it, it's legal, but it's still, I'm not happy with it. But
yeah,
they're probably not please me anyway. So
yeah. But by the time Justice Unlimited, there was a lot of restrictions. Like for one, there was the whole famous Bat embargo, where they couldn't utilize certain Batman characters outside of Batman, of course, in Justice Unlimited because there was the Batman TV show that came out around the same time. So
yeah,
and yet they were trying to bring in some characters, but unfortunately, they had to switch it.
you talking about Gotham?
Oh no, no, not Gotham. This was like back early, like early 2000s with Justice Unlimited.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you talking about the Batman animated show?
Yeah,
Okay, which I love that show too. That came out in '92. Kevin Conroy. Yeah,
yeah,
famous.
that show was good too. Yeah, yeah. And plus, I think around Unlimited they couldn't even use Aquaman because they were trying to set up a new series, but unfortunately, it got just to the pilot.
Hmm. And then you have the long hair Aquaman.
Yeah,
he didn't get the he didn't get the clean shaven Aquaman with his. You didn't get that guy. You got the really rough Aquaman.
yeah,
But they off well. He was strong. He was no nonsense. They didn't want to make a joke out of him, which I think it played really well. Um, yeah, anytime they did anything on that Justice League show, the cartoon, they did it justice. Hence the pun, but they did it. They made it work well. They
yeah.
did a good job.
Plus, now that I think about it, with Young Justice for Captain Marvel, like after season one, we would see Billy being older, but he would still like need to transform still and look completely different as Captain Marvel.
Right, right. Yeah, and the way they drew him on Young Justice, he was thicker. I liked it. He was a thick kid. He wasn't. I say kid. He was a thick man. But I like the way they portrayed him on that one. That look is similar to the Kingdom Come Shazam or Captain Marvel. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gave me that vibe and such.
Mm, yep.
Yeah, so I would say like maybe for a third film, like they could still probably have the same like Asher Angel. That's the kid's name. If he's still yep, yeah, I'd say like if they make a third movie by the time he's like I don't know like I don't know how, if he's like in his 25 years old, I feel like Zachary Levi could still do it because it's like when he transforms, it's like he becomes like a godlike form. It's like a magic
Right.
version of Captain America, where like you transform into like at pretty much at your peak condition.
Right. True. True. But how old is Zachary Levi going to be then?
Well,
Right.
I don't know. That's why I feel like maybe he can still transform, just like Zachary Levi would just be like a bigger, bigger version of him or something.
I mean, everybody ages up. Unfortunately, we get older. So it's how old is Zachary? I mean, he's not in his 50s, is he? He's probably in his late 40s. So he's
Yeah, I was gonna say like because I know for the second movie he his hair was definitely not quite as black as in the first movie. So I say yeah, he's 42 years old. So wow, yeah, he's actually a little older than Henry Cavill.
yeah. I mean, but if they want to play the character to your 70, who cares? Who cares? How old was George Reeves when he was playing Superman? I I mean, he looked old too. So I say old, he looked elder. Well, he didn't look like he was feeble, but he definitely had a mature look to him. So if they want to play him to their old, who cares? I'd watch him. I'd watch him. I like him.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, yeah, because with these kind of characters, you can go with any direction you want it, whether it be young, old, or as a mentor.
Yeah, like I said, they're leaning towards a more younger hero. That's why they keep rebooting the characters. I do like what they're doing with Flashpoint with the old Batman, the Michael Keaton. They're keeping him old. I was like, perfect. And I don't know if you watched. Did you see the trailer for Flashpoint when it hit Super Bowl?
Oh yeah, I did.
Everybody in my house went ape shit, and then people were calling me on the phone. Did you see that? I was like, I saw it. I mean, legit, my buddy in New Orleans is calling me. Did you see this? I'm like, yes, I saw it. I says, we'll come watch it in New Orleans together. We'll swing down there and watch it. So yeah. So I don't mind it. You know, let the characters age. Let them be old. Who cares? They got to do something sometimes. You know, it's they're gonna get old. But if they keep rebooting them, you sort of, I don't want to say you don't fall out of love with them, but you're more connected to the ones you grew up with. So like Christopher Reeve, that was my Superman. But then of course they gave it to Dean Cain, which I grew to love that character. Dean Cain is, and then of course Henry took over. Uh, but you'll notice with these characters as they keep going to different actors, you'll have your favorite. So, and I get it. You want to keep the character alive, and for example, Superman can't be the same person forever as far as actor goes because we all age and we fall out of the look, if you will. You won't look the same after years and years and years. So they have to go with new actors to keep the character fresh. And the character's been around for 85 years. Superman has, and Captain Marvel's been around for almost as long. So you
Yeah.
want to keep them fresh and keep them alive. So you have to give these new actors a chance to portray that character, so they can show how they think this character should be presented. So yeah, that's
I
yeah.
agree. Yeah, because I mean, if thinking back though, like if around when I was a kid, like if I had to choose an actor for something like Captain Marvel, I'd probably pick like Patrick Warburton.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Funny you should say that. Look up Patrick Warburton as Superman. See who shows up.
Oh yeah, I think I know where you're talking about because like there is all those like Seinfeld commercials with where like you see Jerry talking with Superman. Like yeah, that I always remember those.
When you type in Patrick Warburton as Superman, I show up.
No way. Let's
My shows up, which is hilarious.
Warburton as Superman. Let's see.
Check it out. Who pops up?
Let's see. So far in the Google, just in regular search, just the images from the commercial. But let's take a look at images.
Okay.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I see image of you wearing the costume with the arms crossed. Yeah.
that's me. Yeah. So I kind of thought that was funny. Somebody thought that was him. I was like, all right, I'll take that as a compliment. I like Patrick Warburton. Of course, like I said, I have to put makeup on.
There you go. We can just call you like the blonde Warburton.
Yeah, yeah, right. I look totally different from what I do. Uh, the character, whatever character I'm doing, till this, I call it the Clark Kent effect because people don't recognize me from one day to the next. Because, like I said, it's the makeup makes a difference, and you put on makeup and walk right by the same someone you spoke with for like an hour the day previous, like they didn't know who you were before, and you showed up, they wouldn't recognize me. So yeah, even when I was in New York, I would go and hang out with my buddies at these Comic Cons. I met them at Comic Con. They saw me as Superman, and that's all they saw. And then they're like, hey, let's go hang out at this bar later on. I was like, all right, and I go home and I wash it all out, and they're like, is that you? I'm like, yeah, man, I look different. It's makeup. It makes a difference. Any
Nice.
woman will tell you too.
Maybe
Makeup makes the person.
maybe that's what they should do for the comics instead of just the glasses. Like maybe like just where he has like a different hairstyle or something or different hair color when he's
I don't
Clark.
know if you don't want to mess with the lore.
Oh, it's been messed around for years now.
Huh?
It's been messed
Yeah,
around for years now, especially multiverse comics.
yeah, true. Plus, he had the beard. He was running around with a beard for a minute. Superman was.
And then
Uh,
the '90s, like long hair.
the long hair. Yeah, right. That was fun. But like you said, back to Captain Marvel, his is perfect. He's a kid. You wouldn't even notice he was. Who was that? That's Captain Marvel. No, that's a kid. And
Yeah,
only Batman knew that he was in the comic or in the cartoon. He was the only one that knew that he was Billy. I knew. Okay, Batman.
yeah, he was. He definitely told Wonder Woman off when how she was saying the whole like a Lila mission is still a lie, but I mean like it's his to tell if he wants to or not. Like not every hero is just hero all the time.
Right, right. Yeah, he's a fun character. He's like I said, he's. I want to say they kind. I don't know if you remember. There's a character. Um, it wasn't Hyperion. It was another one. Prime, I think is Prime, who had the similar concept that they kind of pulled from Captain Marvel, where it was a boy and then he changed into this huge dude, and he was out fighting crime. I think they kind of pulled that concept from Captain Marvel too. I believe that was a McFarlane, an Image book, like
Hmm.
one from the Image comics back in the '90s, I think. So,
Hmm.
so yeah, these people who try to bring out their characters, they'll pull from the classic characters. I mean, that's why they were thinking that Captain Marvel was pulled from Superman when obviously he wasn't. But I mean, they were similar, but people still pull from Captain Marvel to make their character. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think my one of the directors I interviewed, he's a big Captain Marvel fan as well. Like it's been pointed out that sometimes like some of the things that Superman has was pulled from Marvel
yeah,
comics as well. So like it kind of both goes hand in hand together.
yeah, yeah. But Superman was first.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I would say if there was anything Shazam was taking from Superman was just probably just the look and haircut. But back then almost every hero had black hair.
Yeah, the concept of someone flying around, um, being a big guy, yeah, and fighting crime. That I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, they probably borrowed that for sure. But then again, Captain Marvel was made from magic, with all the different gods. Uh, Superman was not. So they went different directions. Their costumes were different. Um, and like I said, Wiz Comics and DC Comics were competitors. And then when Fawcett City Productions went out of business, as was it just Fawcett Productions? Anyway, when they went out of business, DC snatched him up and they acquired him, which once again, smart move by DC. So
Hmm.
bravo to them. They got a good hero.
Yeah, yeah,
So you take in under your roof, if you will.
yeah. Captain Marvel is definitely one of the more unique and best heroes DC has so far.
Yeah, definitely. Even though he's a child, he's got a child mind, but that's what makes him fun. Kind of like the whole Tom Hanks kid TV show, the big TV show or the
Yeah,
movie. I mean,
yep,
that's kind of like that, where he went from being a kid to an adult, but he's still got the mind of a child, so he's having fun, and everyone doesn't realize that he's really a child mindset. So that's always had that comparison to those two things: the big movie and the Captain Marvel character.
yeah, yeah. I definitely got that vibe with with Shazam because that's what people call it. Basically, a superhero version of Big.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard people talk about it. Which, like I said, I love that movie too. That was always fun. Zoltar, Morty Big.
Nice. Well, I say that be our time for today. Thank
All right, man.
thank you again for being part of this.
Man, I appreciate you having me. Like I said, if you want to talk comics or movies anytime, just give me a holler, dude.
Yep.
But I love it.
And
My life. Mind you, my family too, but cosplay, kids, and movies. That's what I like. That's what I love. My family, my kids, and the movies. So yeah.
heck, yeah, I mean, you love you like what you like. Yep. And thank to all you viewers for watching, and stay tuned for my next live stream. And don't worry, I'll make sure that everything's set up just right for next one. No issues for that
Everyone stay super, and like Shazam said, family.
one. Great time. Great time to that.